After 5 years of marriage, he publicly kicked me out of Evans Digital Solutions so he could be with his Tiffany. The next second, he faced a crisis, and I was the only savior. He knelt before me, pleading bitterly, but I turned and walked away resolutely. The company held a management meeting. My husband's Tiffany was checking IDs at the conference room door. Tiffany smiled at everyone entering, but when it was my turn, she sneered. I frowned and took out my cybersecurity department manager's employee ID badge. She didn't even look at it. Claire Peterson, Mr. Evans felt sorry for you and gave you a manager title. Do you really think you're important? Ignoring her, I dialed the CEO's direct line. Someone says my position is charity from you. Is that true? It's just a small matter, don't worry about it. I'm busy, gotta go. Robert Evans's tone was cold, but I could tell he was rushing over. Tiffany clearly heard it too. She rolled her eyes dramatically before letting me in. I thought the initial snubbing was over, but as soon as I entered the conference room, everyone inside avoided me like the plague. No matter where I sat, within seconds, others would move. I raised an eyebrow, not bothered. My relationship with them had always been poor, and I was often pointed at and whispered about in the company. I didn't care. Thank you all for attending this management meeting. As Mr. Evans hasn't arrived yet, I will make a brief opening statement on his behalf. Tiffany, who had just blocked me, began to host the meeting. At first, it was normal content about business adjustments, position changes, and other issues. I found it boring, occasionally glancing at my phone screen. Due to the company's revenue this quarter decreasing by 3% compared to last quarter, the board believes it is necessary to reasonably cut expenses. As Tiffany said this, I noticed everyone was looking at me with schadenfreude, which was strange. Tiffany then looked directly at me. CLA. Peterson, the cybersecurity department will be disbanded first. You haven't brought any profit to Evans Digital Solutions these years, and you're the only one in the department. What's the point of just having the title and coasting along / collecting a paycheck for nothing? It's a terrible influence on our company. I finally understood why everyone's attitude towards me was so weird today. I couldn't help but ask, feeling absurd. Are you sure? You're really disbanding my department? Tiffany scoffed as if I couldn't understand basic English. At this point, some colleagues started gloating / kicking someone while they're down. That's enough, Claire Peterson, isn't it clear enough? If you can't accept it, reflect on yourself. You've been playing on your phone since the meeting started. Not respecting Tiffany means not respecting Mr. Evans, surely you know that? Hearing this, I was momentarily speechless. I was checking my phone to monitor the firewall data in real time, in case any viruses attacked the company's core data while I was away. How does that turn into disrespecting Mr. Evans in your mouths? How can they spout such nonsense when they don't understand anything? Seeing me say this, everyone quickly changed their tune. What's the use of you monitoring? There's hardly ever any danger like that, we've never heard of it. Exactly, you're probably slacking off in your office every day. Are you trying to act busy now? Who are you trying to fool? It's just because Mr. Evans is coming. Looking at everyone's hostile expressions, I had never realized how many people looked down on me. I was actually being mocked because the company had never been breached. In this situation, I suddenly remembered an internet meme about a programmer who, when he had nothing to do, would create a bug himself just so people would call him to fix it. It saved him from looking like he wasn't working. This was exactly the same. Silently doing work usually didn't yield good results. Since that was the case, I didn't need to be polite anymore. I slowly stood up and looked each of them in the eye. If it weren't for me, Evans Digital Solutions would have gone under long ago. You wouldn't be here bossing me around, would you? Let me be direct, the cybersecurity department is the most important department in this company, understood? As soon as I said this, Tiffany was even more sarcastic. Who gave you the nerve to think you're so important? Mr. Evans? Claire Peterson, don't be naive. I wanted to say more, but the conference room door opened, and someone shouted, "Enough!" Robert Evans, dressed in a designer power suit and dress shoes, entered the conference room. The room suddenly fell silent. Tiffany quickly pulled out a chair for him, but he didn't rush to sit. Instead, he walked directly to me, his tone extremely harsh. "Claire Peterson, stop being an alarmist here. Putting on airs just makes me dislike you more." I was slightly stunned. I had thought his "enough" was directed at Tiffany, but it seemed it was meant for me. Before I could speak, Robert Evans continued. "I regret letting you join Evans Digital Solutions in the first place. I really don't understand why Grandpa insisted on having a flower vase like you here. Who are you being arrogant with? Whose company can't survive without you? We had been married for 5 years, and as nominal spouses, we should at least maintain a semblance of harmony in public." His blunt, humiliating words shocked me, and my expression turned cold. 5 years ago, Grandpa Evans, relying on his old friendship with my grandfather, asked me to be the cybersecurity manager at Robert Evans's company. Evans Digital Solutions is facing a critical situation, Claire Peterson. Thank you for lending a hand. Robert Evans's attitude was very good then. He had just returned from studying abroad and looked young and inexperienced. Later, Grandpa Evans even arranged for Robert Evans and me to get together. I had fallen in love with him at first sight. Otherwise, with my personality, no matter how much was offered later, I wouldn't have agreed to a marriage of convenience. I would have just helped Grandpa Evans. At that time, I thought even if Robert Evans didn't necessarily love me, he at least had some affection, so he was willing to work things out/see if they were compatible. He initially only said we would work things out/see if they were compatible, but that period lasted for 5 years. Time passed, and he forgot my silent contributions. Looking at his cold face, I said in a deep voice, "If you want to disband cybersecurity, go ask Grandpa Evans first. If he agrees, I'll agree." I came to Evans Group because of Grandpa Evans's friendship with my grandfather, not because of anyone here. Hearing this, Robert Evans's face showed a flicker of guilt. After a moment, he retorted, blustering defensively, "What are you doing? Are you trying to use Grandpa to pressure me? What else can you do besides bullying others using influence? I really don't know what Grandpa saw in you that he insisted on bringing you in, only for you to be a freeloader/dead weight in the company." I looked at Robert Evans, no longer seeing any trace of the young man from back then. By this time, the other colleagues also couldn't sit still and rushed to drive me away. "Aren't you leaving yet? Mr. Evans has spoken. Claire Peterson, you're an adult, there's no need to be clinging on stubbornly/pestering, right? Why make it so ugly? Isn't it better to part ways amicably? Claire Peterson, you're not going to act like a pathetic, dramatic woman, are you?" I was initially confused, but seeing these few people clustered together, I instantly understood. If I remembered correctly, there had been rumors before that these few people were colluding to take kickbacks and earn illicit money/under-the-table money in secret. The one who led the mocking earlier had also probed me indirectly to see if I would falsify data. I refused him outright. I didn't think of it then, but now it all connected. It seemed that was also when the people in the company started seeing me as an outsider, and I was targeted everywhere. They were the troublemakers. Robert Evans was foolishly still believing them. I really didn't know what he learned studying abroad. I turned to the one who had just called me clinging on stubbornly/pestering and was about to expose their affairs. If I remembered correctly, his surname was Smith. "Mr. Smith, just because I didn't help you with the accounts and website, there's no need to be so ruthless, is there? And Mr. Johnson, Mr. White, you've been eager to drive me away since the meeting started. Whose cake did my cybersecurity department step on?" Hearing that I was about to expose them, their faces immediately became unnatural, but Robert Evans acted as if he hadn't heard. Mr. Smith was the first to react, blustering defensively with a malicious tone. "What are you slandering with empty words? When did I ever talk to you? Do you have proof?" Robert Evans didn't notice my hint at all and frowned impatiently. "You good for nothing, trying to slander deserving employees before you leave?" I sneered back. Deserving employees? Which of these people standing up now is a deserving employee? At that, the faces of several people darkened further. I continued, "Mr. Williams's $5 million watch isn't something he can afford, is it? Didn't Mr. White just buy a riverfront property/waterfront house on the riverfront in the city? And Mr. Johnson just sent his child to study abroad recently, didn't he? Mr. White slammed the table, his face flushed with anger. You're slandering me. I've been in this position since Evans Digital Solutions was founded. If I wasn't loyal, would you even have your pathetic cybersecurity department? How can you say that? I've dedicated myself to the company for so many years, what I've taken is what I deserve. I have a clear conscience. Mr. Johnson looked at me coldly, still stubborn. Watching them act so stubbornly, I scoffed. Robert Evans didn't know that without me, Evans Group would have been carved up long ago. The small portion they embezzled was taken through a loophole left by the previous programmer. I had fixed the loophole long ago after discovering it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the luxury of being a spoiled young master with everyone watching out for things for him, where he just needed to sign off on business matters, and still be able to swagger around telling me to get lost. The company was facing internal and external threats, yet he sat in the CEO's position, oblivious to everything. Not to mention the past 5 years, even in the last 6 months, there had been multiple network intrusions from competitor companies, all blocked just like this. I submitted reports, but he never paid attention. Robert Evans once told me I only needed to be a flower vase in the company, but because I promised Grandpa Evans, I used my full skill set and wrote the code. On one hand, it was repaying his favor. Now that Grandpa Evans is in poor health and not involved in business, Robert Evans is dropping the act? Does he think he can control Evans Group completely now? My fists clenched tightly. After a while, I spoke, looking directly into Robert Evans's eyes. Robert Evans, I'll ask you one thing. Are you absolutely sure you want me to leave? Robert Evans seemed to have never seen me look at him with such intensity. He froze for a moment before snapping back to attention. Yes. Seeing his reaction, I had no desire to remind him further. He would face the consequences sooner or later. The other executives were still clamoring for me to leave, and Robert Evans made no effort to hide his disgust. Claire Peterson, I advise you to leave voluntarily. Evans Digital Solutions doesn't need someone like you who collects a paycheck for nothing. And, don't report this to Grandpa Evans. If you do, I will despise you forever. I suppressed the anger bubbling inside me, gritting my teeth. Don't worry, I haven't sunk that low. Robert Evans, I just hope you won't regret this decision in the future. But even though I said I wouldn't, Robert Evans remained suspicious of me the entire time. I consciously took off my employee ID badge and slapped it onto the conference room table in front of everyone, ready to turn and leave. Robert Evans suddenly called out to me. For a moment, I thought he had changed his mind, but then he just said, "Since you've laid everything bare, I won't pretend anymore. We're getting a divorce. Claire Peterson, I have never loved you these past years." Hearing this, I scoffed. Don't worry, I'm not self-centered enough to think that. His decision was within my expectations. How could Robert Evans possibly think that after doing all this, I would still have feelings for him? Even if he hadn't brought it up, I would have filed for divorce tomorrow. For 5 years of marriage, Robert Evans and I were husband and wife in name only. We lived together but didn't share a bed, only putting on an act for Grandpa Evans. In our daily lives, we completely lived separate lives. Before Robert Evans could say anything, the colleagues around us started flattering him again. Mr. Evans's decision is truly wise. I don't know what hope there was for someone like her. Exactly, she's useless, she doesn't deserve Mr. Evans at all. It's good it's only been a few years of marriage. Not much was wasted, better to cut your losses. Feeling his cold attitude, I turned back to look at him. Have you thought about how you'll explain this to Grandpa Evans? Robert Evans flinched slightly, frowning and saying fiercely, "It's none of your business. Just leave now. I'll explain to Grandpa myself." By the end, he seemed to have thought of something, a half-smile playing on his lips. After 5 years together, I immediately understood he meant. He was probably relying on Grandpa Evans's favoritism, had already found someone else/found a replacement, and was planning to present a fait accompli/act first, inform later. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but sneer. What, Thinking of something that makes you so happy? You have someone else in mind? As soon as I said this, Robert Evans seemed to snap back to attention and wiped the smile off his face. He glared at me fiercely for a while before speaking. It's got nothing to do with you. Even if I do, they'll be 100 times, 1,000 times better than you. What right do you, an employee who's about to leave, have to ask about the company's future hiring plans? The colleagues nearby also chimed in, saying Mr. Evans's judgment was definitely right, at least better than mine, a flower vase. Just leave quickly. Why are you clinging on stubbornly/pestering here? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Tiffany spoke, sounding as if looking at me for another second was annoying. Seeing this, I didn't want to say more and stated clearly, if I'm really leaving, I'll also take down the firewall I independently developed, because it's my work. I've also applied for a patent for it, I won't let others benefit from it. Hearing this, my colleagues' faces showed clear mockery and disdain. Oh, that's what it is. What use is that broken thing of yours? We never see you doing any work, and there's never any virus intrusion into the company. It's junk we don't even need, and you act like it's something precious. I didn't say anything, just looked at Robert Evans. He was the one in charge. Removing the firewall required his approval. Robert Evans's face showed clear hesitation. As someone in senior management, he obviously understood the firewall's importance more than ordinary colleagues. He hadn't expected me to be so drastic. Perhaps he had only intended to get rid of me personally, although he had suspected me of being a freeloader/dead weight. For years, he didn't really doubt my fundamental programmer skills. Otherwise, he wouldn't have paid me a salary for nothing for so many years. He was worried that competitors would exploit the vulnerability during the period the firewall was down today. Robert Evans didn't speak, and the other employees naturally didn't dare to say anything further, only whispering among themselves. For a moment, the atmosphere was tense, and no one moved. Just then, I felt the conference room door open again. A woman around my age, wearing a business skirt suit, walked in. She met my eyes, her attitude arrogant. Claire Peterson, if you want to take down your firewall, go ahead. I'm here now, we don't need you. Seeing this woman arrive, Robert Evans visibly relaxed, and any hesitation towards me vanished. All right, Claire Peterson, you can leave now. I don't care about anything you've written. Seeing this, I nodded understandingly. I immediately took out my laptop and quickly removed the firewall. Bytes danced on the screen. The woman watched my operation from the side and scoffed. That architecture of yours looks years old. I don't know what you're bragging about. I could write a single layer of code and break through that firewall. Hearing her say this, I finally looked up and really looked at her, my tone neither warm nor cold, slightly mocking. Oh, a colleague, you can tell? Before the woman could introduce herself, Robert Evans stood beside her and said proudly, "This is Jessica. I spent a lot of money to bring her back from a major tech hub. She has her own network company there, specializing in firewalls. She's much more advanced than you." After typing the final line of code, I took my hands off the keyboard and adopted a posture of listening attentively. Really? Miss Jessica is so impressive. May I ask where you studied? Were you from one of the top programs at those universities in a major tech hub, or mentored by a famous professor abroad? Jessica froze, not immediately understanding the names of the schools or teachers I mentioned. She just became more arrogant. I'm self-taught. I was interested in it back in college. What, are you uncomfortable that someone not from those schools is better than you? Facing her mockery, I let out a meaningful chuckle. Not having a formal background, I had no desire to talk to her, we were simply not in the same league. Robert Evans clearly heard the double meaning in my words, and Jessica immediately followed up, asking, "Claire Peterson, what do you mean? Are you looking down on Jessica?" I smiled inwardly, non-committally. Seeing the laptop screen show everything was complete, I turned and prepared to leave. In fact, that was just a test to see if she was truly part of the inner circle. In our line of work, once you reach a certain level, you can gain insights into the highest echelons. The few well-known experts all know each other. When I was studying for my master's, my advisor introduced me to countless major figures in the field. Someone like Jessica? Forget others, she didn't even have the qualifications to meet me. My colleagues looked at me packing my laptop, feeling smug. Jessica turned to Robert Evans and vowed confidently, "Robert, don't worry, leave everything to me. I can definitely write better and more robust code than her." If it weren't for Evans' Digital Solutions supporting people like her all these years, she would have been eliminated long ago. I don't know why she's clinging on stubbornly/pestering here. Just from the way she addressed him, everyone present, being shrewd, realized their relationship was not ordinary. A faint blush appeared on Robert Evans's face. He nodded obediently. "You'll definitely do great. You'll be the new network manager." My hands paused as I packed. I didn't want to listen to them being lovey-dovey, so I just left. As I walked out of Evans' Digital Solutions building, I thought I heard someone call my name from behind. I turned HTLY and saw it was Jessica chasing after me, a provocative smile on her face. "Claire Peterson, you've noticed my relationship with Robert is special, haven't you? I heard he hasn't touched you all these years you've been together. Thank you for taking care of my husband for me." And? My expression grew darker. She continued, "But you're even now. Didn't he also let you collect a paycheck for nothing at Evans Digital Solutions for so many years?" While thanking me, she didn't forget to imply I was useless. "What did you say?" The suppressed anger from entering the conference room was instantly ignited by her words. I grabbed her wrist, pulled her close, met her startled eyes, and said fiercely, "Let me tell you, Jessica. This company hired an amateur like you because it didn't have me, and now it's going to be ruined. My biggest regret is working for these useless people in their ivory tower." With that, I let go of her hand, leaving only one sentence. "I hope you don't regret it." I really didn't want to cause more trouble, or have anything to do with this company or anyone in it. "Claire Peterson, what are you doing?" As soon as I finished speaking, Robert Evans came out. And Jessica, the moment I released her, pretended to be pushed and cried out in pain. "Even if you're upset, you shouldn't hit people, should you?" Slap. Before I could react, Robert Evans stood up for Jessica and slapped me hard. "Doing this just makes me hate you more. You useless person, just because you're bad at your job, you think you can hit people?" My head tilted slightly from the impact. It was clear Robert Evans had used all his strength. Robert Evans saw I didn't speak. As he helped up the wailing Jessica, he continued to curse. "Someone like you is disgusting. Don't ever appear in front of me again. You're not even worth one of Jessica's fingers." He completely trampled my dignity. At this point, I was utterly heartbroken about Robert Evans. Taking a deep breath, I lied. "All right. Then I'll tell you too, the survival of Evans Group has nothing to do with me from now on. Get lost, stop cursing my company. We'll never see each other again." Robert Evans rushed me to leave, dismissive, and added a few mocking remarks. "Who do you think you are? You think you can decide what happens to my company? What a joke." I twitched my lips, truly hoping he could still smile like that in the future. Just then, a stretch limousine/luxury car suddenly stopped at the company entrance. As the car door opened, a white-haired old man, whose vitality was still evident, was helped out. He roared with full force, "Let me see who is trying to kick Claire Peterson out." I was slightly startled internally. Grandpa Evans? Robert Evans was no less surprised than I was. He quickly stepped forward to greet him. "Grandpa? Aren't you at the rehabilitation center?" Grandpa Evans's face showed no curiosity. He spoke to Robert Evans in a stern tone. "Rehabilitation center? If I were still in the nursing home, you would have run your company into the ground. And apologized to Claire Peterson now." Robert Evans hadn't expected Grandpa Evans's first words to be this and couldn't accept it at all. Grandpa Evans's words quickly ignited his rebellious streak. "Grandpa, I don't care who told you all this, but why does it have to be Claire Peterson? What if I insist on using Jessica?" Grandpa Evans frowned. His sharp eyes swept over Jessica, who dared not breathe, and he snorted. "She's not worthy." Upon hearing this, both Robert Evans and Jessica's faces turned very ugly. After a while, Robert Evans spoke with a pale face. "You're always like this. You've wanted to control my life since I was a child. Today, I must use Jessica, not just because of her ability, but because she's pregnant with my child." This announcement astonished everyone. Although I no longer had feelings for Robert Evans, hearing him openly admit to cheating still made me extremely angry. "You've been cheating with her all along? No wonder you were so eager to divorce me today." Grandpa Evans's eyes widened slightly. He was even angrier than I was, slamming his cane on the ground repeatedly and cursing. You, do you have any sense of shame? How can I have a grandson like you?" Robert Evans seemed to have adopted a what's done is done attitude now that he had said it. "I hope you can give us your blessing. Grandpa, we truly love each other." "You want me to give you my blessing?" Grandpa Evans was so angry he could barely speak. Robert Evans seemed determined. I knew he would present a fait accompli/act first, inform later, but I hadn't expected it to be like this. "You unfilial son! How could you do something that disgraces the family?" Grandpa Evans tried to hit Robert Evans with his cane several times. "Grandpa Evans, calm down, I truly love Robert." Jessica stepped forward and blocked Robert Evans. "You get out of the way too." Grandpa Evans couldn't catch his breath. Grandpa Evans's assistant, who was with her, quickly brought him oxygen, and he took a few breaths. "Grandpa!" Robert Evans's eyes were red, and he wanted to go to him, but Jessica held him back. "Don't call me Grandpa." Grandpa Evans cursed again after recovering his breath slightly. Just then, Robert Evans's phone rang. Robert Evans, slow to realize, took it out and answered it, forgetting to turn off the speakerphone. The next moment, Tiffany's anxious voice came through. "Mr. Evans, it's bad. Someone is attacking the firewall right now, and it seems it can't hold up. The alarms are going off." Robert Evans's face changed, and when he spoke again, his voice was hoarse. "Why did it have to be today?" I scoffed inwardly in agreement. "Yes, why today?" Robert Evans glanced at me thoughtfully, looking somewhat lost. Jessica immediately stepped forward, seemingly wanting to prove herself to Grandpa Evans. "Leave the firewall to me. It's no problem." "Haven't there been alarms before?" I just smiled and remained silent. My firewall could ignore this level of intrusion, so of course, I didn't hear any alarms. Just as Jessica was about to say more, Tiffany's voice on the phone became even more panicked. "Jessica's firewall, it seems to have gone down in less than a minute." "How is that possible?" Jessica was incredulous, trembling slightly. "I learned everything bit by bit following courses and teachers." "How could there be a problem?" "Really? Which teachers?" I asked casually. Jessica immediately exploded, shouting at me, "Shut up. What does it matter which teacher? Are you gloating/kicking someone while they're down now?" I scoffed. I didn't need to guess. It was definitely some online teacher and coding course, and she became overly confident after just a couple of days. Her company in a major tech hub was probably just a front. What do we do? Robert Evans panicked. Although he managed this network company, he actually knew nothing about these things. But even more anxious than them was Grandpa Evans. "The firewall is down?" Seeing Grandpa Evans looking like he was about to have trouble breathing again, I quickly stepped forward to support him. "Grandpa Evans, don't worry, the underlying files still have my defense. At this level of alarm, they can't break through to that side for now." Grandpa Evans grabbed my arm, finally relaxing with a look of lingering fear. Robert Evans was no longer paying attention to what we were saying, constantly urging Jessica, hurry and save Evans Digital Solutions. "If the core data leaks, we're finished." Jessica had no choice. She opened her laptop to try and salvage the situation, but the moment it booted up, she found her computer had already been compromised. The entire screen displayed a foreign hacker's defiant gesture and a data leak progress bar. What do I do? I don't know how to handle this." Jessica's face was pale, helpless. "It's over, it's all over." Watching the data completely vanish, Robert Evans knew he was finished. He felt a little shaky himself. In his desperation, he saw me looking calm and collected nearby and remembered I was also a programmer. He pulled me towards the computer. Claire Peterson, you know about computers, don't you? You must know how to fix this. I looked at the screen. I did know how to fix it, but I didn't move. I know, but I have nothing to do with you anymore, Robert Evans. Did you forget? You were the one who told me to leave. I'm no longer part of your company. You. Seeing that his sense of entitlement wasn't working, Robert Evans exclaimed in surprise, his face twisted with suppressed anger. See, can't you help just this once? I held up 6 fingers and chuckled. If you want me to do freelance work, it starts at 6 figures, no upper limit. Seeing that I was unyielding, he was a bit helpless, not expecting me to be so expensive. He turned his gaze to Grandpa Evans. Grandpa Evans, ever since he heard the underlying files were safe, hadn't planned on helping him. Meeting his gaze now, he snorted. Where do you get the nerve to trouble Ms. Peterson? Years ago, she wasn't someone just anyone outside could hire. Do you think you can order her around just by opening your mouth? Robert Evans didn't understand why Grandpa Evans had suddenly become so respectful towards me. For a moment, he felt as if Grandpa Evans was talking about someone else entirely. After a long while, he mumbled, Grandpa, what are you talking about? Grandpa Evans looked at him, disappointed, and cursed, you blind fool. You still think Claire Peterson is an ordinary programmer? She's a top-tier hacker I managed to persuade to come back using old connections. It was doing you a favor to even have her associated with you back then. Grandpa Evans explained. Robert Evans was stunned for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was full of disbelief. Her? Grandpa Evans continued, why? Yes. Her, Claire Peterson. This was the good match I specifically found for you. Look at what you're doing now. And carrying someone else's illegitimate child, I'm utterly disappointed. Robert Evans apparently still didn't grasp the seriousness of the situation. The amount of information was too overwhelming for him to process immediately. But his gaze towards me truly changed. Grandpa Evans explained again, did you really think I brought her here back then just for a simple defense for your Evans Digital Solutions? Wasn't it? Robert Evans was completely frozen now. Grandpa Evans scoffed. That was secondary. Her main purpose was to protect the joint project between Evans Group and the government. If that information leaked, the consequences could affect the entire situation, you fool. Seeing this, I also nodded at Robert Evans. The hacker who attacked Jessica's firewall just now was targeting the underlying files of that project. Hacking into your company was just a side effect. Hearing this news, Robert Evans couldn't believe there were so many layers to it. But how could such important files be placed in? Jessica couldn't accept it even more. Just as she was about to argue about the location of the files, she was roared at by Grandpa Evans. Shut up! I'll deal with your and Robert Evans's affair later. It's a complete disgrace to the Evans family. Now that the project was safe, Grandpa Evans relaxed. He held my hand and gently instructed, then I'll leave it to you. Please pay more attention in the future. I returned his grip and nodded slightly. Grandpa Evans then turned to get into the car. Seeing him about to leave, Robert Evans rushed forward frantically. Grandpa, what about my Evans Digital Solutions? Grandpa Evans turned back from the car in confusion. You messed it up yourself. You fix it yourself. Weren't you so capable? Didn't you not want me to interfere? You got someone else pregnant and still have the nerve to ask me? Evans Group I. Ascend, the only company I own. With that, the car door slammed shut. Robert Evans was completely bewildered. Jessica's laptop had crashed completely and wouldn't boot up. I had watched the show and was about to leave when Robert Evans grabbed me. His face was full of anxiety, his tone humble. Claire, I was wrong. I was blind. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I'm begging you, save the company's lost database. I pulled my arm away and asked coldly, why should I help you? Didn't you hear Grandpa Evans say it? It starts at 6 figures to hire me now, and Robert Evans, you're not even qualified to hire me. I stopped working for your company's paltry salary long ago." Robert Evans was speechless at this. After a long while, he said with difficulty, his eyes red, "I'm willing to reconcile with you, all right? I'm really wrong. Please give me another chance." Jessica snapped out of her daze and rushed forward, saying, "Robert, you can't do this." Slap! Get lost! Robert Evans slapped Jessica, roaring, "You liar. Get out!" Jessica covered her face, looking disbelieving. Robert Evans didn't spare her another glance, turning back to me. "Claire Peterson, come back. No one in Evans Digital Solutions will give you a hard time anymore." I scoffed. So he had known all along, but I didn't need it anymore. No thanks. Good luck with that. A few days after returning home from that day, I was bothered by Robert Evans again. "What do you want?" I was impatient when I opened the door. Robert Evans's face was slightly pale and weak. He hesitated for a long time before speaking. "I received a court summons. Claire Peterson, how could you file for divorce against me?" I leaned against the doorframe and raised an eyebrow. "You cheated first, of course, I'm filing for divorce." Hearing me say this, Robert Evans's tears immediately fell. "Can't you, for Grandpa's sake, help me one more time? Evans Digital Solutions is really on the verge of collapse." I knew he had come for this reason today. "Did you get Grandpa's permission to come here?" Robert Evans no longer had the arrogance he displayed when he fired me. He just shook his head slightly. I called Grandpa Evans right in front of him, briefly explained the situation, and asked for his advice. The old man on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment, then snorted coldly, clearly still angry. "Claire Peterson, you decide for yourself." After hanging up, I refused again. "I'm sorry, I'm not planning to do any more work for your company." Robert Evans clearly heard Grandpa Evans's attitude. His tears immediately flowed like a broken dam, and he choked out, "Why? Grandpa is completely unfair. I was clearly his favorite since childhood. And you, Claire Peterson, why are you so heartless? I even made Jessica get an abortion for you." I shrugged, unmoved by his breakdown. "You chose this path yourself. You are getting what you deserve." With that, I slammed the door shut. "Claire Peterson, won't you listen to just one more thing? I really know I was wrong. Please." After that, no matter how much Robert Evans pounded on the door, I didn't open it or respond. Robert Evans finally staggered away. A few days later, Evans Digital Solutions announced restructuring and a new beginning. I knew the company didn't go bankrupt directly. It must have been Grandpa Evans's doing. He ultimately didn't give up on the small company under Evans Group. But it seemed he didn't intervene for Robert Evans's sake, as I heard Robert Evans was directly demoted to low-level salesman. It was probably for the underlying files. This small company was still useful. Grandpa Evans had more than one grandson, and his treatment of Robert Evans was a message to me. Robert Evans, the future heir, was ruined and couldn't be salvaged. Evans Group would choose a new heir in the future. Jessica was also targeted by Evans Group and went back to her hometown with her tail between her legs, with no future prospect. Some time later, I received another offer from Evans Group, but this time it wasn't from Robert Evans's small company, but a formal invitation from Evans Group itself. When I was invited into the Evans Group building again, I was still in the role of cybersecurity department manager. "Please come this way, Ms. Peterson." Seeing Grandpa Evans being so respectful to me, the eyes of the employees around me also completely changed. Only then did I realize that the few who had been taking kickbacks earlier had also been fired by Grandpa Evans. Among the low-level salesmen, I saw Robert Evans. He looked at me with tears in his eyes, but I didn't want to look at him again. From then on, we were strangers, with no connection.